Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS Slate Breakdown for Thursday, August 1st. I didn't think we were going to be doing a show today, but schedules changed from earlier in this week, and we have a 5-game slate to go over. Now, we really got to watch weather. There is weather all over the place. 4 of the 5 games have some sort of weather that could affect the game, so we're going to do this. And we're going to go through it, but make sure you look at weather before the slate starts, as a lot can change today. So let's get into it. As always, we're going to go over the perfect lineups from yesterday, the winning lineups from yesterday, today's pitchers, and some stacks to consider. Now come join us at LineStar. Got great deals here, $39.99 per month or $240 for the year, which saves $20 a month. Get it, do it, let's go. Now, let's get into the sitch. Yesterday's slate was a bit wild. Shout out to my Padres who swept the Dodgers. And shout out to Logan Webb, who is on top of the board for FanDuel perfect lineups. Then we have a 4-man Cubs stack with 4 one-offs. Campusano got there for the Padres, Fraley for the Cincinnati Reds, Dubon for Astros, and Bart for Pittsburgh. And then the winning lineup went to J West 27, who had Logan Webb, had a 4-man Cubs stack. That was kind of a necessity as they put up 13. And then they had a 3-man Colorado with a one-off of Ellie De La Cruz. Actually kind of interesting that it's not too much different to my lineup that placed 12th. I had a 12th place lineup and a 19th and then 33 or so. So I was all around it. Just didn't have the perfect combination. I needed Doyle or... Actually, sorry, Jake Cave to do something in his last at bat. And then I could have been up here, but oh well. Doesn't always go that way. Congrats to J West 27. You got it done. And let's move on to DK. Kyle Freeland, Logan Webb are the 2 pitchers you needed. We had a 5-man Cubs, 2-man Pittsburgh, and a one-off of Fraley. And the winning lineup went to Shohei, who had 201.8. They had Webb, they had Cease, they had a 5-man Cubs stack, and 2-man Cincinnati with Logan Hop being the one-off O-Hop. So congrats to them. Way to take it down. Once again, the old 5-2-1 gets it done, and let's take a look at today. So, Cleveland, big-time weather. Detroit, big-time weather. Chicago, big-time weather. Atlanta has the normal, late summer scattered storms. They could go over the ballpark, could not. Who knows? All 4 of those games are definitely in question. Atlanta probably plays. And the rest, we really have no idea at this point. We just got to wait and see what it says when it comes to game time. See if those are playing or whatnot. I think there is situations where all of them could play, but also, 3 could not play today. So very much got to watch out. All right, so highest owned, we got Charlie Morton, 8,800, 16-point projection. He's a 5-star alert score. Versus Miami, Miami shipped off all their best offensive pieces, but they've still been hitting. And over the last 20 games, 266, very low ISO, decent WOBA. They've been okay. I'm still willing to pick on them a little bit. Charlie Morton has been way better at home, 40%, 39.4% more fantasy points at home. FIP-wise, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been great for a little while. He does have, some big ceiling when he does get it going. And so for that reason, even being chalky, I would not mind having a little bit of him, but I also don't mind stacking Miami in this. On these small slates that even could get smaller, Miami is a nice little leverage point versus the highest owned pitcher. Now, we are still waiting on one more pitcher. Trevor Rogers is going to be the guy for Baltimore. It literally just happened while I was doing the intro this morning. So all his information hasn't populated yet, but hopefully it will by the end of the show. And so I can give you his breakdown also. Next, we got Sonny Gray versus the Cubs, 9,800, 2.1x. He's been unbelievable this year. He's been very good, very efficient. The issue here is he's averaging 38% less fantasy points away. And it's in Wrigley. The winds are blowing out. It's not a great spot to pitch, but the Cubs haven't been hitting that well either. However, they did break out last night. I don't mind going with some Sonny Gray, but it's another spot where, because he's been pitching a little bit worse than he usually does, I don't totally mind trying to get some Cubs for leverage. I think the slate is interesting just because how much leverage is going to be around. The one thing I do have to add with him and it being in Wrigley and the winds blowing out, he's a ground ball pitcher. 42% ground balls. So that's going to definitely help the ball stay in the park and make it a little harder for the Cubs to really put up big time points. Next, we got Shata Manga. He's been great all season long, and I don't mind taking him in this spot. It is at Wrigley, and he does allow 54% fly balls, which makes this spot a little bit harder, but at least he's home. And St. Louis versus lefties hasn't really been good all season. They've been a little bit better lately, but still not great. So I don't mind trying to pick on St. Louis a little bit in this spot. He's going a little lower owned. You could make a case for it. Cardinals are still going to be one of the higher owned offenses, I believe, just due to the weather situation, if that game plays. Now, I do have to warn you, any of these games that have some weather, there is obvious situations where a delay could come in. Make sure to pay attention to what is going on when it comes to lock time as far as the weather. All right, Seth Lugo versus the Detroit Tigers. Tigers haven't been good versus righties. They're not great of an offense. Lugo is solid. He's not great, but he's going to get it done, and I like the spot for him. I don't think he should be one of the lower-owned pitchers. I definitely am willing to take my shots at 9,400 Seth Lugo. Now, he doesn't have the upside as a Morton or Shata or Gray unless he's going to go, 8 innings. But that is absolutely in the range of his possibilities. He has gone, 9 innings, 8 innings, 7 multiple times. So he's gone over 8 twice, 7 multiple times. He definitely can do it, and there is upside in this matchup. We got a 23% combined K rate for a guy that could work 7-8 innings. So it becomes very interesting for Lugo. Next, we got Ryan Feltner, 6K versus the Angels. Plus side, this is the one game that is going to absolutely play today. So you're not going to have to worry about delay risk here, but you just worry about upside risk. Now, he is averaging 61% more fantasy points away. He has been decent. 4.15 FIP isn't bad. 4.3 over the last 5. 23% K rate versus an Angels offense that is just kind of meh. So I'm definitely willing to pay some Feltner, get some Feltner value here. Carson Fulmer, 77 pitches last start out. He's going to stay right around there. He does have a K rate around 24%. I think he's a little interesting. Rockies haven't been great offensively all year. They've been a little bit better lately, but I still don't mind some Fulmer. He is also averaging more points at home, 94% more at home, but very small sample size with starts there. Ben Lively against the Orioles. Never really want to pick on the Orioles. And I don't know if I can do it today. Also, Trevor Rogers would be against the Guardians. The Guardians are another team I don't love to pick on. Max Meyer versus the Braves. Huge prospect, big-time prospect. Going to be held to around mid-80s pitches, it looks like. This Atlanta Braves offense doesn't really scare me. I think there should be a little more K upside than this 21% is showing. I don't mind going to some Max Meyer. Really, all pitchers are on the board today just because it's such a small slate. And it's not like the chalk is really that strong. So I don't mind just getting different a little bit today with pitching. Let's check over on FanDuel, see what we got here. We got Charlie Morton, high owned. I don't love it, but it makes sense. Shota is next, 22%. Definitely intrigued there. Sonny Gray, I'm also intrigued at 18%. Seth Lugo might be my favorite, even though he is the most expensive. We also have him at 3.7 X. Second highest projection, just under Shota. If you look at consensus, everybody is very, very similar. Morton has the highest consensus, but I also think his pitching is the shakiest of those chalky guys. So it's the easiest to kind of fade if he's chalky. It's hard to go like Feltner or Fulmer on FanDuel just due to the fact that the chances of them get quality start and win is slim. Can they do it? Yes. I would much rather Feltner than Fulmer, just due to the fact that he is more likely to go 6 innings and possibly get the win bonus. Also, I think for him to be optimal, he does have to get the win, have to get the quality start, just because strikeout upside won't really be there. Now let's get over to stacks and check out what we got there. Our highest ceiling stacks of the day are Colorado versus Fulmer. Fulmer hasn't been great. He's shown some upside, but I don't mind trying to pick on him a little bit. Let's check on... Royals are popping up against Detroit a little bit. We're not sure who Detroit is going to be, but Royals have had big upside. The one thing that you got to worry about with the Royals, they are way worse away than they are at home. So just understand they are away in this situation, so maybe you can't expect quite the output. But they're fine. Baltimore versus Ben Lively, I think that's fine. 4.5 FIP over his last 20, 5.2 over his last 5. It's a great offense. I don't mind picking on them. I don't mind going to the Angels versus Feltner. Feltner is an average MLB pitcher, and every average MLB pitcher can get lit up every now and then. Now, our highest projected, we got Royals all over it. My one warning to you is the fact that they're away. And check out some value here. I would expect Miami pops up a little bit here. Miami, Cubs versus Sonny Gray. So you'll have some leverage. You'll have leverage with both Cubs or Miami. I think both are a little bit interesting. Angels versus Feltner, all of which ones we have talked about already. So let's click the teams here. Atlanta Braves, 4.8 implied total with Baltimore at 4.8 and Cleveland also at 4.8. Of those three, the worst bullpen is Baltimore's. So Cleveland gets the nod there, but Miami isn't much better. So Atlanta, definitely interest. The one issue with Atlanta is Max Meyer is a big-time prospect. He's still trying to figure it out, but if he figures it out, it could be a solid game for him. Casey, still no pitcher here, so understand these implied totals and everything could change a little bit, but they are of interest. The issue there is they're away, and they're just not as good away. Colorado's not as good away either, but at least Fulmer is a average so far MLB pitcher, and the bullpen behind him is not good. Angels, Feltner is another average MLB pitcher, and their bullpen is terrible. So they are absolutely of interest. The Cubs and the Cards, they are in Wrigley. It's warm and winds are blowing out. If this game plays, it is beneficial to hitting. So there's definitely some interest at lower ownership there. Tigers versus Lugo, I don't really like the spot, but if you want to go there, fine. Miami, I am interested in with some leverage there, as Morton is high owned on both sites. I think Miami is going to be an interest leverage option you can take, and that will do it for us today. You all have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow with a big slate. Hopefully tonight's slate is 5 gamers. But all in all, make sure you watch news, because that will be a big time thing today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps me a ton. Talk to you all later. Peace.